Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Disney Dining Show. Your host, Pete Warner, is not here today. He is unavailable. So it is Steve Porter, joined by Corey Fiasconoro.
Hey, guys.
As you can tell, we're in the Magic Kingdom. We're going to do the VIP Taste of the Magic Kingdom.
Taste of the Magic Kingdom tour.
Yeah. I've never done this before. Have you?
No, I've never done it before either.
I've done the Backstage Magic tour, but I've never done this tour. It's 3 hours long.
Yep. And $99 a person.
Yep.
And you're going to go through and taste, from what I've gathered, all of the signature Magic Kingdom foods, and then hear a bunch of things from the chefs backstage about, how they make what they make.
So a little behind the scenes look at, tasting around the Magic Kingdom, like in the title. So I'm excited to check this out. I'm sure we're going to have some Dole Whip, some churros.
Oh, yeah.
The iconic Disney food snacks. I mean, it's got to be that. I think also they said that you get to taste some like new or upcoming snacks too.
That's awesome.
So I'm hoping maybe there's the new ice cream
New Dole Whip. Yeah, they have the new raspberry Dole Whip.
Well, and they have like the Hey inspired ice cream now too. So maybe
sour belt on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to try that. We'll see. But anyways, stay tuned. Lots to try out. Or lots to taste. So stay tuned.
So we started our day at Tony's Town Square restaurant, where they were serving Cinnabon rolls with like this white drizzle, this white sugary drizzle, and then a bunch of sugary sprinkles. It was in the shape of Mickey Mouse. They were also serving coffee, tea. There was a bunch of waters if you wanted them there. I thought the Cinnabon was pretty good. I'm a big fan of Cinnabons, though. It would be better if it was warm. They weren't warm.
Yeah, they were cold, which is fine. I thought they were fine. I thought it was good. It was a good way to start the morning because I came here without having breakfast. So I was like, oh, nice. I get some food right away. They also had coffee, tea, some other like basic, what else did they have? Oh, bottles of water. So that was a good addition. This is also where we met our tour guide, or tour guides rather. I know his name was Zach. I can't remember her name. Both are really, really nice.
They were really nice.
I think that, honestly, for me, the tour guides were one of the highlights of the tour. They were really knowledgeable on every little thing that I'll share more as we explain. But they had little neat facts and figures about all the restaurants that we went into. So they always had something to share. And they did a good job, I think, throughout the tour. So, and then after Tony's, we went to Casey's Corner. And this was actually another really cool part of the tour because we went in, the Casey's was closed, but we got to see the kitchen, or what kind of looks to be the kitchen, what you might think is the kitchen for Casey's.
Very small.
It's very, very small.
Smells like hot dogs.
Yeah. But what we learned is it's kind of like a fake kitchen. They really prepare all the hot dogs and everything at Casey's at the Tomorrowland Terrace kitchen, and then use the utilidors, which are the tunnels underneath the Magic Kingdom, to then ship the food from the Tomorrowland Terrace over to Casey's, and then they serve you everything out the window. I think, he said really nothing is prepared in there anymore because when they built that kitchen in 1971, the crowd levels were so much lower that it was fine at the time for the size of the kitchen then, but now it just can't keep up with the guest demand. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and also a guest asked if they keep the food there in warmers or anything like that, and he said that they do have warmers, but the process that goes through the line is like they try to have it like 30 seconds in and out. So the process is always running. Mm-hmm. There's always food coming from Tomorrowland Terrace to Casey's Corner during the peak hours of the day when food's actually being served there.
Yeah. And then, so after Casey's, we walked out just in a single file line of Casey's, and it was crazy because the kitchen's so small. We hadn't even entered the kitchen yet, and we already saw the rest of the group leaving.
Yep.
That was kind of just a crazy thing. After Casey's, we went over to Skipper Canteen. Here we were offered the buffalo chicken spring rolls and the Schweitzer slush. And I've had the buffalo chicken spring rolls before. They're good. They're very good. You only have one when you buy them in Adventureland. You get two. But that was another thing that, like, everything that we had and we sampled, it was definitely sample size.
Yep.
They didn't give you the full amount, which, at first I was like, oh, that's kind of lame, but it made sense as you go along because you're eating so much.
A lot of snacks.
Yeah, you're having so many snacks that if they gave you the full amount, you would have been like sick by the end. So I don't know. I think that was a cool little stop. This is also where we talked to the chef, right?
Yeah, and there were a couple really cool things that they mentioned in Jungle Skipper Canteen that I didn't know, and I was fascinated by. A lot of the butterflies on the wall, those were actually belonging to Lillian Disney in her own personal collection. I thought that was super, super cool. And then also we found out that Jungle Skipper Canteen, their kitchen, is actually the same kitchen where they prepare food for the Club 33 here.
Yeah, that was really
I thought
cool.
That was awesome. But we talked to the chef, and he was doing a little bit of a Q&A. They asked him some questions like, is the food fresh or is it frozen? Like, is the fish fresh or frozen? And he answered that everything that comes through that kitchen is fresh. And they asked a variety of different questions, which will answer.
Yeah, it was a cool. They kind of had. It was an opportunity for kind of people to raise their hand and say, how is this done? How long have you been working here? And someone else asked, like, have you always worked at this location? And he said, no, he's actually worked at Walt Disney World for 15 years, and he's only worked at Skipper Canteen for 6 months. So it does seem like he had the opportunity to kind of move around. But yeah, this was kind of a unique opportunity for people to kind of raise their hand. The thing with me is I couldn't think of any food-specific questions that I really was curious about.
Right.
So, I mean, there certainly were people that really did care and did have interesting questions, but I just couldn't think of any. And then after Skipper Canteen...
Dole Whip.
Where?
We went to Dole Whip.
Oh, yeah, the
Aloha
Isle. So just further down in Adventureland. Again, really small, like... It almost was like, when you get a condiment and you, like, squirt the mustard into the little Dixie cup, basically. It was about that size.
Like a barbecue sauce dish.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it was fine because we were eating so much. They did kind of have us tucked away in the corner of Aloha Isle, and the tour group size was kind of way too big for where so like everyone's like shoulder to shoulder with their Dole Whip, and our Dole Whips were all like melting all over the place. It was kind of a little bit of a disaster, but this was only the second day. I forgot to mention this. This was only the second day of them doing this Taste of the Magic Kingdom tour. So you could tell there was definitely things like that where they were working out the kinks and trying to figure out how this works and what doesn't. So that I noticed that little like moment right there with the Dole Whips kind of happened a couple other times throughout the tour where they might need to think about where the tour group is if they're going to have this large of a tour, because we were constantly like in the way of like a pathway that was blocking like families trying to walk through with strollers. So there's strollers like walking through our tour group and our families with strollers walking through our tour group. So they might want to plan out the path of where we go a little bit better.
You'd be walking through a lot of the same roadways and areas that you normally walk through in Magic Kingdom, whether you were on a tour or not. And the cast member would be up the front leading the way, and they'd be talking to the people there at the front with them. But if you were all the way in the back, you couldn't hear what that conversation was about at all.
Yeah, and I've been on other tours in the past, VIP tours in the past. I did the Backstage Magic tour actually last week, and they give you a headset. So, whether you're right next to the cast member or the tour guide or you're at the very back, it's no problem, because usually if they're asked a question, they just reiterate the question so that you can hear it through the microphone again, and then they explain what the answer is, and then no one kind of feels left out, where here it's just like there is large sections of the tour where we're just following the group, and we're just talking amongst ourselves,
right.
And you're not really getting any of that interesting facts and information about the actual tour because you're not next to the guide. So hopefully that's something that they can maybe add, because I think it would improve the tour quite a bit.
And then next up, we went to Tortuga Tavern where they were serving turkey legs, which neither of us were a fan of.
I've never been a fan of the turkey legs.
I didn't even try it. You did.
Yeah, I figured I had to because we were there. It's I mean, I know people will hate on me in the comments because I've made this comment in the past before, but I just am not a fan at all of the turkey legs. They taste like ham. Ham's delicious, but it shouldn't come in turkey leg form. It's very, I don't know, the whole thing is just weird. And the texture's so, like, I immediately got something stuck in my tooth. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But that was kind of a quick stop. We really didn't spend that much time there. They gave us the turkey leg. We tried the turkey leg, and then we moved on to the next place, which was the...
Gaston's?
Yes.
So we went to the backstage area, which we weren't allowed. They asked us not to film any of the backstage stuff. We did see a number of backstage stuff. We went through to get to Gaston's, and we saw the entrance to the utilidors. Didn't actually go inside. I thought that was super cool.
Actually, wait. We have things out of order. Before Gaston's, didn't we have the donut? Or was
Nope, that was after.
Okay, we'll get there then.
Yeah. That was immediately after. But we did take a backstage route to get to Gaston's. We saw the entrance to the utilidors and, like, I guess what you call it, like a bunch of the back scaffolding.
Yeah, it's kind of the backside of New Fantasyland. When I worked as a cast member here, this is like where everything enters. So the reason they show you the mouth of the utilidors is because they're saying that, you know, this is where all the food comes in, this is where all the cast member comes in. But I think they were trying to stress the fact that this is where literally all the food for all the restaurants enters in through these utilidors. So that was, I think, the purpose of showing that. They don't actually show you down into the utilidors, so you don't walk in the utilidors. For that, you need to do either the Keys to the Kingdom tour or the Backstage Magic tour. But I know for you were just excited to see that.
Yeah, I had never been backstage anywhere here in Disney before, so I thought that was amazing. I was all giddy about it. I wanted to see more. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. But when we finally got to Gaston's, they had the gray stuff.
Yep. It was delicious. It is really delicious, though. That is, I mean, that's a joke, but it is true.
If you don't believe him, you can ask the dishes.
Oh, gosh. Okay. But yes, we had that, again, very small portion size. But that's, again, it's fine. And it was, again, we were in like a weird spot. We were right in front of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And so we were like, all these families were trying to get around us, and really just poor planning. I didn't really understand why they kept doing this.
Right.
And then after that, we moved over to
Little Mermaid.
Yes, Mermaid. And we had a mermaid donut.
And there was big, like, white chocolate chunks on it that I thought it added a lot of texture to it. The donut, again, so the two things I devoured the most was that Cinnabon at the beginning and this donut.
You love the pastries?
I do. I really do. I thought the donut was actually really, really good. And the little white chocolate things added some awesome texture and flavor to it.
I thought it was good. At first, though, I freaked out when I first looked at my donut because I thought there was a hair on it.
Yeah.
But it turned out, I don't know really what it was. Like, it was a piece of grass, which is equally kind of not great, but better than hair, I guess. And it was good, though. I mean, it was a delicious donut, so you can't... I mean, if you mess up a donut, then you really are screwing things up. So, yeah, the donut was really good. It's sweet. I didn't finish the whole thing because at this point, I was starting to get full. And after the donut, we made... Is that when we had the popcorn?
Yeah, we had popcorn next.
So that was over in front of Liberty Square, or in Liberty Square in front of the Liberty Tree Tavern. Little popcorn cups. And we kind of just hung out in front of there, in front of the Liberty Tree Tavern. Again, another stroller issue.
Yeah, and that was another place where, like, guests who weren't on the tour were getting confused and thinking that they were going to, like, hand out free popcorn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they kept, like, moseying into our group and being like, oh, popcorn.
Oh, free popcorn.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is only for tour group.
Right.
So, yeah, they need to do something to really, like, they need more than just this to really break up the group and the normal guests, because there is just a lot of confusion going on. And they were saying, like, they serve, like, so much popcorn. I forgot.
Oh, she said something along the lines of, like,
it could fill the entire Tower of Terror or something like that.
The amount of popcorn they serve in the year could fill up the entire Tower of Terror. Yeah. That's crazy. That's a lot of popcorn.
And after the popcorn, we went to. I'm trying to think. It's hard to remember this tour because it's a
3-hour tour.
It's a 3-hour tour, which is long, but the Backstage Magic tour is like 5 or 6 hours or whatever. But that tour, you only do like 4 main things, but it's like you're like in the utilidors for a long time, or you're in the textile services for a long time. This, like, you go, you have a snack someplace, and then you go someplace completely different. Like, it's very, very quick.
So after that was the secret taste test, I guess.
Oh, yes. Then that kind of was nearing the end of our tour. And we... No. Actually, before the secret taste test, we had a weird purple wall interaction where they brought us to the purple wall with little, like, cutouts of Dole Whips and pretzels to take, like, selfies of ourselves.
Little photo shoot.
It was kind of weird. I mean, it was... we made the best of it, but it was... there was a couple things about this tour that it was like weird that we're paying to do this. Like, I don't know, I can take a selfie in front of the purple wall by myself. I guess I don't have the fun cutouts.
Yeah.
But I don't think I really needed that. It almost felt like a time filler, like, oh, we need to make this a 3-hour tour.
Right.
So we'll add this extra thing in there. So that was odd.
And that was on the way to the secret taste test.
Yes.
Which the purple wall, if you don't know, is right outside Tomorrowland Terrace. And then they brought us in Tomorrowland Terrace to have us try a brand new food that hasn't been released in any Disney parks, any Disney restaurants yet.
We're told we can't talk about it or tell you what it is. I will just say there was one, it's kind of was split into 2 things. There was one thing that I liked and one thing that I didn't like. But again, we can't give you a lot of details on that just because out of what Disney kind of abide by their rules. So yeah, we can't tell you too much about that. But it was kind of cool to know that, hey, maybe this will be in the theme parks in a month or 2 or however long it takes them to decide to put that into the tour.
And they also gave us sheets to, like, give our thoughts on what we thought of the food we tried. And I think it would be interesting if I don't know if all VIP tours that do this are going to eat the same food, or
no. So the tour guide said that she did this yesterday and they had a different item.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. I think it's nice that everyone's kind of gonna get to try something different. And it will. I think it will. What will be really cool about this is if there's something in the future that someone tries and then, a month or 2 down the road, it becomes like the next big thing,
Right.
Imagine if you tried something and then it turns out to be as famous as like the Dole Whip or something. I mean, that's on another whole level, but even on the level of like the cheeseburger spring rolls or the, a lot of things that are popular right now, I'm sure will be something that's on this tour and then in the future extremely popular.
Right.
So I don't know, that was kind of neat. It was kind of like seeing, it wasn't a backstage thing, but it was kind of seeing like a peek behind the curtain type of moment. And really that kind of concluded the tour. After that, we said thanks to the tour guides.
They stood up front and asked if anybody had any questions, but that was when it wrapped up right there.
Got some visitors. And yeah, so overall, I don't mean to say this because it sounds a little like bratty, but I did not think that this tour was worth it. I think for $99, there's a lot of things on Walt Disney World property that I would rather spend that money on. I think you were you got to see, that was your first time seeing anything backstage, so you liked it, I think, a little bit more than me. But yeah, there's, for little sample size foods, I'd much rather have a true behind the scenes experience and do a Keys to the Kingdom tour. Or if I had the budget, the Backstage Magic is a lot more expensive, but I think that tour is way more, you're seeing so much more of Walt Disney World, that it might be worth, the additional cost. I just think, granted, this is only day 2 of this tour, so, maybe they are still working out how exactly they're going to do it. But I would actually rather have less stops and more quality stops than like, let's just have this and then run to the next thing and then run to the next thing. Because if you didn't include the little facts and figures, like they told us, you know, Cosmic Rays is the third most busiest restaurant in the world, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Or, you know, you're saying the Lillian collection of butterflies being in Skipper Canteen. So those facts interjected into the tour did make it feel informative and fun. But the rest of the tour just felt like, you know, let's go have this tiny Dole Whip and then run over here and have this tiny turkey leg and then run over here and have this tiny little thing of popcorn. And other than that, it was like, I could just do this on a normal day and like get the full size portions of these things, and it probably wouldn't add up to $99.
I thought so. I totally see what you're saying, and I need to do those other tours you mentioned because I've never done them before. So I have much less to compare it to. I liked it a lot. Even for $99, it does seem a little bit much, but I don't think I would think that's right on the money if they polished it off a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need to do something.
If they gave us earpieces and fed us those cool facts throughout the walk from one place to another, I'd say problem solved.
I don't know if I would say quite for me problem solved, but it would vastly improve the tour. I think, I think those headsets are a big piece of improving this tour. So overall, you know, out of 10, I would give this tour right now, I think, a 4 or 5. I think with the headset, I would give it a 6 or a 7. It just wasn't for me. Maybe I'm just not a foodie. I don't know. But I consider myself one a little bit, so I don't know. It was
very snack foody.
Yeah,
so it's like
true.
You got the buffalo chicken spring roll, and you got the popcorn, but besides that, it was like pastries and ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah.
So very snacky,
very dessert and treat heavy, which is for some people. So again, this is not everyone's opinion. This is just our opinion. And even we slightly disagree on the tour. So overall, I think this is a great experience, and I think that's going to do it. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks again. We'll see you next week.
See you next time.